don't make sense what the suffering was for. Cause I got out my head and I got in my bag. No time to be crying, there's money to make. I'll do what I gotta, whatever it takes. Cause I'm pushing myself to be one of the great. And my time is right now.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is staying the course of your goals. Staying the course. Here he is. Stay the course of whatever the duration is, whatever the adversities are, whatever it is you're struggling with, stay the course to the end goal. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because, I've got a lot of people that always ask me about resiliency, how do I stay strong? And just ultimately, how do you do it? ? Whether it comes to changing your career and going from a corporate 9 to 5 and getting financial freedom and the definition in terms of doing your own job and creating your own business, your own financial freedom in that sense. And create, I'm not saying millions and millions of dollars, but, leave the 9 to 5 stigma, leave the 9 to 5 conditioned lifestyle and create your own kind of wealth in that sense. How do you get into the fitness side of things? How do you lose body fat percentage? How do you get a healthy relationship with food where you're not binging? How do you gain an understanding of knowledge around nutrition to make sure that you have confidence in where your life's going to go with your food and your lifestyle and things like that, right? All these different things. And the biggest thing that I've realized over the last 6 weeks in particular, because the grateful thing about me is my business is expanding. I've hired on someone to help me out with some things in terms of organization. And it's it was and is the validation that I needed to know that I am on the right fucking path. Because to be completely honest, and the thing that I'm learning the most about this journey is that no matter what journey you are on, when you start a journey of any format that you are embarking on to get something that you've never had or a change that you've never had, then you're never going to know for certain that you're doing what the fuck you need to do. Every day you're going to have that little bit of anxiety, a little bit of animosity, right? And that's why it's so important to have a game plan. That's why it's so important to hire a coach or have mentors or everyone or something or someone to help you guide yourself to have that certainty, right? And the biggest thing that I'm noticing within the last 6 to 8 weeks is in hiring people onto the team, getting things to expand is that is that validation that I am on the right fucking path. And all I had to do was stay the course. Is there areas of my life that I could have sped up if I was to not be as emotional? Is there areas in my life that could have been more, more opportunistic if I wasn't as egotistic and prideful? Of fucking course. Could I have done some other things faster? Of fucking course. But the biggest thing that I've learned is that stay the course. If you're trying to go on a fitness goal or a muscle goal, a muscle gain goal, or a performance goal for anything like a marathon or a sprint race or something like that, it's half of the battle is staying the course. Nothing changes overnight. Nothing changes within 1 or 2 weeks. You have to stay the course 3-4 months minimum, going 110% effort to see what has happened, right? And the crazy thing about it, 3 or 4 months is literally 20 to 30% of the fucking year. That is it. It's you can't even take 25% 1 quarter or 1/3, 30% of your year to just go 110% to see what would happen if you actually did it. And that's the thing, is just staying the course, right? So the biggest thing with staying the course is just understanding why you're doing what you're doing, because if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, you're never going to make sense of it. You're only going to be doing it out of influence, out of persuasion or being persuaded, or whatever it is. You're not going to be authentically on the right path for yourself. So you're not going to want to go through the duration of the goal. You're not going to want to stay on course, right? So the biggest thing with staying the course is understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And for me personally, it was just the abundance I was seeking. And I say this to everyone when they say oh, how do you keep pushing these boundaries and how do you keep never not missing, right? I had a conversation the other day with a guy and he's just at the gym. And he was just I asked me how I was doing. I was fuck man. I was I barely made it here today. And he was what do you mean, you? And I was what do you mean, me? I was fuck yeah. It's hard every day. What do you mean? Sometimes it's harder than others. It was 3 o'clock. I was pulling in the gym on a Friday. I didn't want to go. And he was nah, bro, you never miss, And it's funny because I'm not saying this in an arrogant standpoint, but it's just nice to hear 100% from my ego. And I do work very hard and I never really take days off. And I'm not saying you should be this way. Practice as I preach or do as I say, not as I do type mentality, I guess. But, it's I still struggle with those things, right? But even in those moments, this recent, all the way from the beginning of when I started my goal 5 years ago, it's the same adversity the same why that I put up against any adversity, which is am I going to lose from my temporary emotional state of how I feel about how my life is in the present moment, and I just feel low energy, feel demotivated. Maybe my insecurities are acting up. I'm feeling like, some self-limiting beliefs. I'm telling myself I'm not worthy. I can't do it. I'm telling myself that I shouldn't even try. If that side's happening, I gotta compare that to my why to make sure that I'm staying the course of the goal. So my deep why was always to have that abundant life that I wanted, where I could sit in my own home, my own safe home. Because, growing up the way I did, there was no certainty in the safetiness of it, whether it was financial scarcity, whether it was like physical or verbal abuse going on at home. There's always this different like things going on within the family. So it's like I wanted to be able to stay within my own home, have a job that I get a little bit of joy and fulfillment from, and live my life that way, and be able to have support systems, me and Emma, like daughter life, and do everything like that. It's like that's all I wanted. So every single time that it came up, the adversity came up, or any adversity would come up, because they're gonna come up. It's life. You're chasing things you've never had. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? As cheesy as that is, it's true. Like, you got to cut down the brush of the pathways you're creating in your lifestyle. And if you don't want to put that effort in, then it's just not going to happen. So there's going to be adversities. And no matter what it was, the smallest amount of adversity, of whether it was just like a decision of getting up on time or my alarm, or whether I literally had some family trauma happen, like I have like few times, and I combated that against my why. And my why was always stronger than the adversity that came up, because it was undeniable that I needed and wanted this goal to be achieved. So that's number one, with staying the course and making sure that you stay successful, is knowing why the fuck you're doing it. If you don't know why, and your deep-rooted reason why isn't really deep-rooted emotionally, it doesn't mean a lot to you, and you can't really look up, and no matter how tired you are, no matter how stressed you are, no matter how depressed, no matter how anxious you are, no matter how much stress is going on, no matter how bad your relationship is, no matter how bad your life is, if you can't look up and see a little peep of light and know that that is what you are going for, and that's your why to go against whatever is in front of you, then you're not going to stay the course of whatever your goal is, So the closer you can get your why to have a deep-rooted meaning to you and why you're doing it, the easier and the more likely you are to stay the course of your goal. And then the rest of it is just to make sure you're being honest with the work that you're doing, be integral with the work you're doing. A lot of us have victim mentalities and don't want to put much effort into it. So once you have your why, you got to be integral and put effort into whatever it is you're going after to get. You can't expect anything to come easy. There is going to be things that come fucking super, super easy for you. And you're going to be very blessed. And then you're going to get a little bit arrogant. You're going to get your ego a little bit bruised. And you're going to find something that comes across your path that you're fucking trash at, But that's the whole point of falling in love with the journey, right? And being integral with the effort you're putting in. Because, prime example, me being an entrepreneur, like, people think it's so easy to just, you just go to the gym whenever you want. You record content whenever you want. You just kind of fucking hang out whenever you want. It's like, no, you're not understanding like the levels to this that there is, like, I go to the gym, I take content, I edit it, and I market it to a purpose of certain people that I want to help, that I've struggled my own self with, So it's like, that takes effort. And then on top of that, being an entrepreneur, it's like, don't forget about taxes, overhead things with different apps to make sure you can deliver stuff to your clients in a timely manner, in an efficient manner, to have that professionalism. You know what I mean? It's not just, here's a PDF of a meal plan, here's a PDF of a workout plan, go have fun. It's like, no, there's daily accountability, there's habits, there's lifestyle change, there's so many levels to it, right? And this is just like the deliverance, there's marketing, there's like so many different aspects of it, right? I'm not going to go in this long rant about it, but it's like, I don't know, like, there's things I'm still learning to this day, that my ego got bruised and I got arrogant. And like, I had to be integral with my work ethic, right? Like, there's sometimes I caught myself being like, no, I'm working hard on that. Why is this still a problem? And it's like, I just was living in the animosity of my ego and my pride, because I just didn't know how to do it. Whereas there's other things that, like my podcast, I feel like I'm very good at that, because I like talking. I like being articulate with certain avenues in my life, like exactly what we're talking about now, being integral with your work ethic and things like that. Because there's times you're going to catch yourself when you're like, oh, I'm busy, putting a lot of work in. It's like, no, busy is different than being productive, right? And this is what I mean about being integral with your time and integral with your efforts in terms of going the course of the duration, right? Like, there's people that are in school that, like, this is a really weird scenario, not really weird, but like, we all kind of know one person that's like this, right? That's in school for 8 years, that's literally just getting their undergrad, right? And it's like, not to shame them or ridicule them, because like, some people do struggle, and that's a different story. But, some people just kind of like ride that wave of just kind of like, oh man, like, school's hard, but it's like, they never really put effort in. They took maybe 3 courses every semester, and they never pushed themselves to do 4 or 5, Maybe they struggled to get like there's marks, but they never asked the teacher for help, or they never went to extra curricular activities to get that help that they needed, and they partied every weekend, or they did everything. They were always where they shouldn't have been, put it that way, And same thing like that, right? You can't do that with your fitness goals too, right? It's like, oh, like, you know, I ate good Monday to Thursday, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I ate whatever I wanted. You know, I went to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I didn't go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, no, you got to be integral with the time you're putting in. Just because you're doing something different and you've never done it before, aka track your macros, aka go to the gym, aka, you know, maybe study, you can go to do these things, doesn't mean that you're still going to see the success that you deserve because you're not being integral with the efforts you're putting into, right? Like there's a lot of coursework that goes into schooling. You know, same thing with why I went on that rant about me doing this as my job, being an entrepreneur. It's like, no, like I'm not just going to the gym, recording content and posting it. There's levels to it. There's a lot of things I need to embrace. So I need to be integral with the effort that I'm putting in, because on one hand, I can sit here, bitch and moan about what's hard and what's difficult. But on the other hand, I can also be a victim, a victim times two, and just sit there and let life condition me to be somebody that I'm not. You know, so even when it comes to going to the gym, it's like, sure, you've never gone to the gym before. You've never tracked your macros before. And sure, you are putting a little bit of effort into those avenues, which is great. We're never going to deny effort in that scale because you're still doing something right. But if you're not doing it to the bare minimum standards to put the effort in to make change, you know what I mean? You're just putting salt on the wound and be like, well, I tried, you know, then it's never going to come to fruition. So you have to have integrity with your effort that you're putting in, on top of having a deep rooted reason why, and then just stay the fucking course. The rest of it's going to work itself out. And then like just piece of advice, honestly, just like with, I guess 2 or 3 things is, one, never know what it's going to look like. You know what I mean? You just got to know what it feels like, you know? Like, and what I mean by that is like from an emotional standpoint, you know what makes you happy and brings you joy and brings you fulfillment. And if you don't, like start trying to figure that shit out, because that's what life is all about. The more you embrace those emotions and not deny, but like get rid of any emotions that don't align with bringing more of those emotions on, that's when you start to build more momentum of happiness and things, and you start to bring more of those avenues of your life into your life, right? So it's like, you got to focus on that versus what you think the success looks like. So what I mean by that, you could think buying a Lamborghini or buying $1 million house, or, you know, all these different tangible accolades and winnings of success is what's going to bring you these levels of happiness, but you don't need to have those as measurements of success. Your measurements of success come from like how you feel. So don't ever feel like you need to know how things are going to pan out. Another one too is just make sure like you believe in yourself to have these changes, because again, like as much as you like, you know, stay the course, know your why and stuff like that, just have a little bit of belief that it will work. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be much. Like, you know, don't sit there and try to be like, there's some people that believe in themselves undeniably, and that's fucking great. And I do too in certain regards, right? But listen to that gut part of your intuition, and just be like, you know, like at least always believe that it may not be today, may not be tomorrow, may not be next week, neither or next month, but it will eventually. If you can stay the course 3 years, you can stay the course minimum 3 years, I can promise you it'll land out. And I know I said I got 3, but I honestly don't have any other ones. But other than that, stay the fucking course of your goals. Know your deep rooted motherfucking reason why you're doing it. Stay integral with the efforts, and then just let's get it. You know, other than that, have a blessed week, guys. I appreciate you all, and let's fucking go.
Who's on my side? I don't know anymore. Cause it's more than a battle, we going to war. And losing again, I just cannot afford. I think it's my time to go even the score. What you see on the surface attached to my core. I'm stacking my paper by fiending for more.